recent years, technology has been evolving, and it's become a major part of our daily lives. Introduction to things like the internet and PCs and video games has saw a rise of a new form of entertainment, a new form of media. But with technology comes flaws, and everybody is prone to experience a few of them. And I am no exception. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Storytime. I know that's a bit of a strange topic change from technology evolving to me. Just gather around, everybody. It's time for Storytime, but whatever. We're going with it. As that convoluted introduction suggests, we are talking about technology and its flaws, specifically AMD. So, with that being said, let's get into this. Starting out, a few months ago, I got a graphics card update. I previously had an NVIDIA 1050 Ti graphics card. And for my birthday, I was lucky enough to receive as a present from a friend an AMD 280 graphics card, specifically the R9 series. And in terms of what it can handle and how it runs games, it works well. I'm able to play games that I wouldn't be able to play. I mean, I'm pretty sure games like Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal would not run as well as they do.
Detected heavy precipitation nearby.
We're getting rain now. Cool. With the honestly, story time is just kind of the thing where just random stuff like that happens. But in terms of power, games like Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal, I can run them now thanks to the graphics card update. But there's one thing that I really dislike about AMD, and that is their software that comes with the graphics card drivers. And it drives me crazy, specifically the recording software, which I use to record gameplay. It's really frustrating to use. It's unreliable, and half the time it doesn't even work, which is a pain in the butt. So a big thing that's going on in the gaming world right now is Fortnite Season 9. And, of course, it's Fortnite. It's going to take over the freaking world. And as such, I wanted to make a video covering the new season. And no, it's not going to be a video like, oh my gosh, Fortnite Season 9, Thanos snapped his fingers, it's the end game in Fortnite. Oh my gosh. New combat shotgun does 80 damage per headshot. Bring back double pump, please. It's not going to be that kind of a thing. It was going to be a more thought-provoking, more interesting video talking about the evolution of Fortnite, how I think, my thoughts on it, what I think about Season 9, etc. I thought it was going to be an interesting video, and, when you talk about Fortnite, you need footage of the game, because I don't think it would be right for you playing freaking Overwatch while talking about Fortnite. So, I decided to load up the AMD recording software via the overlay, which I'm going to go on a brief tangent and talk about how crappy the overlay and the controls and stuff are, because both AMD and GeForce's Shadowplay had hotkeys. GeForce's was Alt-Z, and I have no clue what the default hotkey was for AMD's because I changed it instantaneously because it was so freaking inconvenient. I changed it to, at first I did Alt-Z again because that's what I was used to. But apparently Alt-Z conflicts with something else, so I changed it to Alt-X. But half the time, when I decide to use the overlay to start recording, it doesn't work. I could be pushing Alt-X over and over and over again and nothing happens. Turns out what you have to do is have the AMD software open, and then occasionally it'll work, and occasionally it won't. So then you'll have to restart that software and hope it works. And if it does, and if you get the recording started, there's no guarantees that it will keep going. I've had several cases where I've opened up the overlay, especially, and in the process of making this video, I needed footage. So I was going to get some more now footage, right? So I open up the AMD overlay, click record, a little thing pops up saying recording has started, and I play the game. Well, the frustrating thing is I finish a session, it's like an hour long. I'm like, it was a good session too, I had some pretty cool moments, which I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be something really cool to show in a video. So then I open up the overlay again, which of course it doesn't open the first time, so 5 or 6 times me pressing Alt X later, it finally opens up, and I'm greeted with the fact that the recording footage is gone. Everything from the last hour no longer exists. I checked the folder, which I designated for clips and stuff for the AMD software. It recorded something, but it was like a 2-second clip of my desktop, which is not what I wanted whatsoever. And also, going back to the whole start recording pop-up, for a while, I didn't realize until recently, but for a while there was a microphone that appears in the top left corner of your screen, and it's extra clutter. People have already complained about the watermark, which I completely understand. I hate it too, and I want to get rid of it, but I'm short on funds right now for recording software, and I don't like OBS. So, I'm just going with what I have for right now. But with AMD, I need I need footage, because recording with what I got doesn't work. It works, but it just causes the game to lag, which I don't want. But you know, it's a nice feature to let you know that you're still recording by having this microphone in the corner saying, "Hey, this is your symbol for, you know, you're on the air." But like I said, it adds clutter, because the worst part about it is it stays in the video after you end the footage. It's inconvenient, and it's frustrating. I finally realized you could turn it off, thank goodness. But to put the icing on the cake, AMD also has a system that is good on paper, but doesn't work in practice. They have a hotkey for starting and stopping recording, which GeForce, as far as I know, unless they added this in a recent update, doesn't. So, if I use that, there's a chance that it'll work, and there's a chance that it won't. With the overlay, there's a chance that it will, and a chance that it won't. But the few times I've actually been able to record with AMD and actually get some footage that stays, it's turned out decently, other than the stupid microphone, which I have recently learned how to turn off. So thank goodness for that. But it's not reliable. It doesn't. I'm so frustrated. It gets me mad talking about it. When I'm trying to record a video, I want the footage to be in a good frame rate, because I understand that people have motion sickness, and that sometimes frame rates lower than 60 or so cause people to have headaches and stuff. So I try to make sure that I use software like, you know, GeForce in the past, Shadowplay, because it records whatever frame rate the game's running, and doesn't usually hamper the game's frame rate, which is really freaking convenient. But AMD, most of the time, it will allow you to view the footage back in the frame rate that the game was running. However, I decided I wanted to get the Fortnite gameplay. But when I load into the game, it goes from, I normally can run Fortnite 60 to 100 frames per second. However, this time, it drops down to 10. Not to mention the fact that, at the same time, my character's skin isn't loading in, the glider isn't loading in, and textures aren't rendering in for buildings and stuff, meaning I'm just levitating in the air for a bit. So combine lag and nothing loading in properly, and you've got a whole heap of trouble. Now, I don't. I have had an issue recently with Fortnite where just buildings aren't rendering in, but after a couple games they will. But with this, for like 4 or 5 games that I played while recording in the background with AMD, the buildings never rendered in until the most inconvenient time. And when they did, the frame rate was still so unplayable it wasn't even worth it. Which means I can't show the footage. It's very inconvenient when you're trying to make a video on something and the footage you're trying to get for it won't work. And then, for this video, I wanted to have some Mordau footage. And I think I'm recording an hour-long session of me playing the game. I play for an hour, I'm like, man, I had some good stuff. And I believe I mentioned this a few minutes ago. But all that footage was just wasted because it didn't save for whatever reason. It's really, really obnoxious, and I hate it. I hate it so much. In fact, here's the footage I'm talking about. You see, it started out well. And then I'm like, wait, where's my skin? Because I'm not using default skin. Also, yeah, it starts out really well. 60 frames or so. But the skin's not loading in. And then the frame rate starts doing some weird stuff. It's like, it's normal 100 or so. I deploy my glider, the glider loads in, the skin loads in at long last, but the building over there isn't loaded in, and look at the frame rate. It drops down to freaking 7, then it's back up again, but then it freezes up. 10, 1, 2, and nothing's rendering in either. It's so inconvenient. Then loading in on another game. 22, and it's just flying in. Nothing's rendered in. Nothing's working right. It's so frustrating. I can't show this in an actual gameplay video. I can't use this. I can only use it here for an example. Now the frame rate works again, but guess what? Things aren't rendering in. My skin ain't there. The only thing that's actually rendering in that I chose is the glide trail, or whatever it's called. The glider isn't working. The textures aren't working. My skin isn't there. Honestly, what's the point? So I'm gonna have to try to find another way to get this video out. I'm gonna have to try to find another way to record this Fortnite gameplay that doesn't break the game. Because here's the icing on the cake. The second I stopped recording, the game went back to normal. Everything worked flawlessly again. Again, sometimes the buildings wouldn't render in properly, but they would when I got close enough to them. It's a frustrating issue for me, but honestly, I don't care as long as they load in eventually. But the frame rate went back to normal. My skins and cosmetic items loaded back in as they should. The only issue that bugged me after that was my inconsistent internet, but that's more on my end and less of AMD or the game. So it's hard for me to get videos out based on games I need footage for that I can't record. So that is why I really don't like AMD right now. If I could, I'd switch back to the GeForce. I'd switch back to my NVIDIA card. But again, the AMD graphics card, in terms of what I need it for, in terms of what it can run, works great. And I'm happy in terms of the performance in, graphical settings. That works fine. That's not what I'm complaining about. In terms of technology, AMD is doing a pretty good job. But I feel like they need to work harder on their recording software and the overlay type thing. That's just me, and I'm sorry for ranting like that, but that's my issue right now. And that's what's made this video a bit difficult to get out, because I had, like I said, some Mordau footage, and I was going to use some of the Fortnite footage. But I wasn't able to save the Mortal, and the Fortnite turned out to be crap. So that's very frustrating. I know the story time was less of me telling stories and more of me ranting. And I promise that next story time I'll go back to my roots and stick to the stories and less of the rants. But I feel like this, maybe somebody else can relate. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. If you guys use AMD, please let me know about the software and if you've experienced these issues. That being said, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this. I would do more stories, but honestly, I've used up my determination right now as far as this goes, to tell the tragic tale of how crappy AMD Surface is. But again, do not misinterpret it to me being ungrateful for the graphics card I've been given for my birthday, or me complaining about AMD in general. Like I said, the card works great. I'm just complaining about the garbage software. Anyway, guys, with that clarification out of the way, thanks again for watching, and as always, Maxusthebeast is out.